guys, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Chris Moore, and in today's video we got a 2020 R1, not just any 2020 R1M. I slipped up and said it. Not just any 2020 R1, this is a R1M. This is Yamaha's premier model. You can see this carbon fiber. Yeah, that's factory, guys. Full carbon fiber fairings, electronic adjustable suspension. This bike has got it all. Look at this crazy looking stuff going on with the forks. Yeah, that's right. You can push some buttons here and actually adjust the way your bike rides and handles. Olean suspension. All this stuff is from the factory. This thing is super fancy schmancy and a really good looking bike. Super lightweight. This bike already has an ECU Flash. We're not gonna display the name of it, but it does have a handheld tuner. We're gonna be running this Flash today. We actually already ran it. I'm gonna show you the baseline numbers here in a second, and it's pretty good, guys. So we're not gonna knock the company. Actually, we're not knocking anybody because this thing runs super good. We're bragging on them a little bit, but we gotta do a little better. The customer has complained there's a little bit of an on-off throttle situation going on with the tune, so we're gonna go in and smooth that out, fix all that stuff, and make this thing run better, make a little bit more power. Let's see what we can do, guys. Here we go. All right, so let's go over the numbers that this R1M has already made. Did pretty good. The air fuel ratio is actually pretty much dead on the money. So it made 182.97 and 80 foot-pounds of torque. That's actually really, really good. Where this thing is lacking is in the part throttle department. So in other words, the fueling is way off. I don't even know if any fuel has been added in those departments, because when you go to roll in the throttle, let's just say you back out and you're 20 to 60% throttle, which is where you're gonna be a lot of times if you're riding the twisties, it's way too lean, which makes the bike jerky. So no matter how good the air fuel ratio is running wide open, it still doesn't ride good. It's fast, yeah, but it doesn't ride good and smooth. So we're gonna try to fix all that stuff today. We're about to flash this thing back to stock. In other words, take the tune back out that was in there. We're gonna erase all that. We're gonna see what kind of power the bike makes. Then we're gonna flash it with our flash and start the tune process, guys. This is gonna be interesting. I got my hands full today. Let's see what we can do. So we just got the R1 all flashed back to stock. That took quite a while. A lot of hoops to jump through. Key on, key off, push this button, push that button. Anyways, it's all back to stock. The check engine light's on. Let's see what kind of power we lose. So, I know it's the flash. It's not gonna go wide open, even though we're wide open. Let's see what happens. Look at how pitiful these things are with no ECU flash. You can see the bike is trying to make horsepower, boom, hits a brick wall, and then falls on its face. These things, dude, like 157 horsepower from flashback to stock. You can see the bike is crazy lean And I mean, literally, this is our torque curve. I mean, it's just literally all over the place. ECU Flash, absolute must if you have one of these bikes. All right, let's put our Flash in it and get this tuning process underway, see what we can get. So we're getting the Flash done on this R1M with Woolwich. After we had the handheld tune Flash here, once we flashed it back to stock, we dynoed it, you guys saw that, it lost power. Okay, so cool. So anyways, we flash it with Woolwich, the thing will not start. Well, I had heard this in the past, and I warned the customer of this before he got here, that a lot of time this customer bought this bike pre-owned and it already had the Flash done. And I said, before he came, I said, man, you gotta be careful with those other flashes. I said, they redo the wiring on the ECU pins themselves. This is the ECU on the R1. Anyways, the wiring is changed. So they switched the pins on these things to make this thing, I guess, a European style ECU file. Okay, well, that European ECU file has a different firing order. So in other words, the spark plugs, they fire in a different rotation. I haven't looked into what the rotation is, but anyways, it's different for the European versus American. Well, we have to go in and rewire, repin out that ECU to put it back to the American original style wiring to make it work with the American original style file. Now, a lot of common misperception is, oh, the European bikes are faster. People put European bike or ECU files in them to have them unrestricted, and that's not the case, okay? So we can take the American file with the American firing order, we can change the rev limiter, we can do remove all the restrictions, change the fueling, change everything to get more power out of these things without going in and changing the wiring on this stuff. So super easy with my mail and ECU Flash. You literally mail the ECU to me, we flash it, mail it right back to you, 100% plug and play. No wiring has to be done. Let's see what kind of results we get, because we're ready to rock and roll. All right, Flash is done. I've already made one adjustment to the fuel curve on this thing. The mail and ECU Flash was pretty close to spot on. I'm really happy with the results so far. I just tweaked the fuel curve. Let's see how much better this thing looks. Also comment in the comments below, what do you think about the sound of this Yoshimura exhaust? Sounds extremely good. So far we're at 188.38 and 82 foot-pounds of torque. You can see we've gained a couple horsepower everywhere from our base tune. Now, one thing that I do notice is different is they are revving the bike a little bit higher in the other Flash versus in our Flash. But I really don't see a need to do that with this bike, because you can see here, even on our blue original line, the power falls off pretty bad and the torque falls off really bad as you rev the bike past 14,000 RPMs. So I bumped it up 200 or 300 RPMs in our, I guess you would say compared to our original file, but not a lot of gain to be had by revving the bike super higher. In order to keep the longevity of the bike super reliable, we're gonna leave the RPMs a little bit lower than what the other Flash had. But this air fuel curve is looking really nice and smooth. We've just about got this thing exactly where we want it. We're gonna go in and do a little more tweaking. I think the 188 is gonna be pretty close to our peak number, but who knows, you never know what I might find. Almost finished dialing in this fuel. Like I said, comment, I want to know what you think about the sound of this thing. R1s are one of the best sounding motorcycles out there. They sound totally different and totally unique because they have a cross-plane style crankshaft. Lamborghinis also have a cross-plane style crankshaft, which gives them a unique sound. The new C8 Z06 Corvette that's coming out is going to have that. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about that? The flash and tune is pretty much finished on this thing. We peaked out at 190 horsepower. This is officially the strongest Yamaha R1 we've ever had on the dyno. Is it because it's an R1M? I thought they just had fancy schmancy suspension on them, but apparently this thing is a numbered bike for a reason. This one's number 483. How many Yamaha R1Ms are out there? I asked the customer that owned it. He said he can't find any results. What number is yours if you got one? I'm curious to know, were there 500 of these things built? Were there 1,000? Were there 5,000? I'm just curious. Let me know if you guys know any of that hard data. Let me know. But let's talk about the gains that we got on this thing over the stock settings. because yeah, we improved over the Flash, and the other Flash was good. Took a lot of work to get it just a smidge better, but let's talk about how bad this thing sucked from the factory. 157 horsepower, and the 157 horsepower was here at 10,500 RPMs. Then the restrictions kick in. Well, you can see the restrictions were kicked in here. I mean, they were kicked in all across the board, but even at our peak with the best with the factory ECU, we were at 10,600 RPMs. Let's go out here to where we got the 190 horsepower. We went from 148 from the factory to 189. That is massive gains. Basically 40 horsepower over the stock ECU, stock bin file. That's after the exhaust system. So you can just imagine you're buying this expensive bike. This is a $20,000 something bike. You got aftermarket exhaust, which is $2 grand. You got all these expensive modifications, yet your bike still sucks. Like 150 horsepower for this thing, let's just say 25 or 30 grand with all the aftermarket modifications on them. The factory is definitely limiting these things and killing our horsepower. Thanks to them, we got a job to do here at More Mafia, and we are getting some power out of these things to get you guys back to where you need to be, whether it be on the street or the racetrack. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you are new to the party, welcome. Smash that like button, click the bell for notifications. Check us out, moremafia.com. There's an ECU flashing page on the website. That page will show you what you need to do to send your ECU in to get it flashed. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.